G'day, my name is Ainsley and you're listening to More Cowbell Please. In our recent podcast with Keith Everett Smith, I found out that his wife, Tasha Layton, has a Masters in Divinity. Well, that really got me thinking. We call what many Christian artists do ministry, but how many of them have any formal theological training? Think about it. Would you allow an inspired, passionate amateur perform open heart surgery on you? Probably not. You'd want a trained professional surgeon. I do believe that handling scripture well takes a lifetime of training and dedication. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Christian artists can't minister or shouldn't minister, but I do think we should ask the question, are we putting musicians on platforms and expecting them to be pastors without giving them the tools? King David was the greatest songwriter in our tradition, and he didn't have a degree. But if you read the Psalms, you know that he immersed himself in the Word and in his relationship with God. But he also committed adultery and murder. Let's keep that in mind next time someone in CCM is facing cancellation. So I did some digging and I've come up with a list of the top 10 theologically trained current Christian artists. Let's start at number 10 with Mark Hall of Casting Crowns. He studied music at the Baptist College of Florida, which used to be called Southeastern. Mark went on to get that degree and is still a pastor to this day. They've had 15 number ones at Christian radio. In the last few years, their song with Matthew West, Nobody, has had 350 million streams. At number 9, got Brandon Lake. Okay, Brandon went to Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry, and he did study at Lee University, although we don't know if he got a degree there. He does show that he's had some theological training. He's currently got a radio single, Hard Fought Alleluia. That song features Jelly Roll. Recently, he also had a single, That's Who I Praise, which also achieved number 1. Coming in at number 8, I've got TobyMac, one of the founders of DC Talk. They all met at Liberty University, where he studied and got a degree in communications. He is number 4 or so in the charts right now with the song called A Little Church, Nobody's Too Lost. And he has constantly had radio singles ever since the days of DC Talk. One of the most beloved people in Christian music. At number 7, I am going with Adam Agee. Now, he is the new lead singer for Newsboys. He has a BA in geography from Arizona University. But why I've put him on the list is the fact that he has qualified and been ordained as a Baptist minister. Their current radio single, How Many Times, does have Adam Agee as the lead singer. It was at number 18 on the Christian music charts until K-Love pulled it just recently. So they got a bit of a cancel thing going on right now. Nevertheless, his cred as somebody with theological training is legit. At number 6, I'm going with Kari Jobe. Now, she's not necessarily highly active on Christian radio, but she is part of what's happening in the worship world through passion, elevation. Her influence is wide, and she has been a big voice in Christian music in recent years. So I've given her a spot because she does have a Bachelor of Arts in Pastoral Studies and Psychology from Dallas Baptist University. Next up, I'm going with our favorite Catholic Christian artist, Matt Maher. Matt got a bachelor's degree in music with theology electives from Memorial University in Newfoundland. He also has some additional theological training via some Catholic ministry programs. He's had radio success as recently as 2022 with the Lord's Prayer. He's had 6 number 1 Christian radio singles. And he continues to write with lots of Christian artists like Crowder, Chris Tomlin, Brandon Lake, Casting Crowns. So he is a force in Christian music. Okay, at number 4, I've got Jonathan McReynolds. Now, the gospel and urban areas of Christian music are not necessarily represented in this. This is for CCM. However, I really wanted to give him a shout out because there's a lot of people with theological training in the gospel world, and Jonathan McReynolds is no exception. He has a bachelor's degree in urban and popular music with a ministry focus from Columbia College in Chicago. A shout out to a few other people in the gospel world, though, that have degrees or theological training, like Tasha Cobbs Leonard, Hezekiah Walker, and Ron Canoli. At number 3, I've got Tauren Wells. Tauren Wells has attended Indiana Bible College Music and Ministry Studies. I'm not sure if he's completed his degree, but he's a guy who's doing really well in Christian music right now. He has a single in the charts, Let the Church Sing, at around position number 21. Okay, at number 2, I'm going with Steve Furtick. Okay, Steve Furtick is the pastor of Elevation Worship. He often makes vocal appearances, and if you go to his church, he'll sing your hymn maybe. So he has a Masters of Divinity from Southern Baptist Theological Seminary in Louisville, Kentucky. Steve's influence in Christian music and in the worship world cannot be denied. Elevation Worship does have a song at number 14 right now on the Christian radio charts called I Know a Name. Of course, Elevation Church also has its hands in Elevation Rhythm, which is a more youth-focused thing with a current single on the radio with Gracie Binion called Goodbye Yesterday. In addition to that, Steve Furtick is part of the Sons of Sunday group. Of course, I saved my number one for last, which is Tasha Layton. She has a Masters of Divinity from the King's Seminary in Van Nuys, California. Tasha's had 3 number one singles, Look What You've Done in 2021, How Far 2022, and Worship Through It in 2024. So she's very current and educated. Make sure you listen to Keith's episode. He really gets into how well she speaks and delivers the message. So that's my top 10 of theologically trained people in Christian music. There's some fantastic ministry happening from people who don't have qualifications. But I also want to say there's tons of people in our business that have degrees in other things. And here's just a little smattering. Like Matthew West has a bachelor's in music. Tori Kelly, you can call her Dr. Tori Kelly, has a PhD in counseling and marriage and family therapy. How about that? Natalie Lane has a bachelor in commercial music and a master's in piano. And she also taught at Belmont. So Danny Koki has a degree. Christian Stanfield has a degree from Sanford. Leanna Crawford has a Bachelor of Arts in Music Business. Charity Gale has a Bachelor in Vocal Performance. How about that? Lauren Daigle has a Bachelor in Child and Family Studies. As to some of my guests, I believe Chris Cleveland from Stars Go Dim did graduate with a degree. Danny Duncan, my first guest, of course, he has a degree from Sanford. Ian Eskelin has a degree in communications from Wheaton. That is Billy Graham's alma mater. So not all my guests are complete dummies like me. I actually did spend 1 year in Bible college in Australia, and basically what I learned was there's a lot more to learn. Finally, here's a scroll of the top 40 at Christian radio right now. I've put large green check marks next to the artists that have theological training and education. I've put small check marks next to those who just have non-theological degrees. All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed this. This is something new for me to do something like this. What do you think? Do you think it would be good to see our Christian artists/ministers have theological training or not? Let me know in the comments who I've missed. I'd love it if you go back and listen to some of the earlier guests. Some of the stories are just fantastic. A good way to fill in a walk with the dog. Until next time, put something good in your ears.